What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about 10 questions about Canada answered by Ryan Reynolds. It's funny because, like many Americans, for the longest time, I had no idea Ryan Reynolds was Canadian. And it's kind of funny to say because it's like, why does that really matter? But Americans are kind of funny where it's like, if someone's like, Ryan Reynolds is Canadian, did you know that? Americans are like, what? Now I've been lied to my entire life. Ryan Reynolds is, to Ryan Reynolds' credit, he does a amazing job of not giving off any of the classic Canadianisms. It must be the acting. He's putting or maybe after living in Hollywood and stuff for so long, that kind of gets trained out of you. But yeah, I kind of forgot he was even Canadian, which again, maybe it's funny because he's so popular in the United States. Americans love Ryan Reynolds and are like, oh, another, proud to have that American Ryan Reynolds. And Canadians are like, no, he is ours. And Americans are like, oh, just choking, just choking on nothing. Anyway, so this video we're going to watch here today is this Canadian gentleman who is going to propose 10 super random questions about Canada and Canadian culture. And lucky me, Ryan Reynolds is going to teach me all about it today. So yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I feel like this is going to be a really interesting, unique way to learn about Canada and Ryan Reynolds' kind of history with Canada. So with that being said, let's take a look.
Here we go. 10 questions about Canada. Okay.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I pause it so quickly, but I can't gloss over this Canadian gentleman's perfect about. It's not a boot. I've learned that. Not a boot. It's much more subtle than that. About.
Here we go. 10 questions about Canada.
10 questions about Canada. Love it.
Okay. You can answer however you want. First of all, favorite spot in Vancouver.
Favorite spot in Vancouver, probably Minerva's.
Oh, are we talking about is Ryan Reynolds from Vancouver? Or is this just a random question? I don't know. I'm mostly in this to learn about Canada, kind of in this to learn about Ryan Reynolds. Maybe he's from Vancouver, but I've never heard of Minerva's. Is that a restaurant chain or something?
It's a Greek restaurant in Kerrisdale.
Oh,
that's probably my favorite restaurant.
It's a Greek restaurant.
Spot. It's sort of like my version of Cheers.
Okay.
You walk in where everybody knows your name. It's nice.
Okay.
Second question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. That's funny. It's funny when celebrities, the most famous celebrities, try to act like their life has some sense of normalcy. I'm sure when Ryan Reynolds walks into Minerva's, everyone's just like, oh, hey, Ryan. I'm sure instead everyone's having a heart attack, Ryan Reynolds, get out the best poutine we have, stat.
Canucks, Whitecaps, or Lions?
Okay, second question?
You walk in where everybody knows your name. It's nice.
Hey.
Second question. Canucks, Whitecaps, or Lions?
Ooh.
Canucks, Whitecaps, or Lions? These must be hockey teams. Okay, it's funny hearing Ryan Reynolds, knowing stuff about Canada. I am one of those Americans who's oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. What?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm gonna go with the BC Nuck Lions.
What?
Caps.
Okay.
Oh, wow. A real diplomatic answer. I was is this I don't know anything about Canadian hockey. I was hanging on his every word. I was the Nutcap Lions. I think I've heard of them. And it's no. Okay. He's making a joke. Is it that controversial? Would would he lose a huge part of his Canadian fan base if he ever like sided with one hockey team. Is that a threat?
Okay.
No, I'm gonna go with the Whitecaps.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
lately I've been obsessed with football.
All right.
I sort of see it now. I almost wish I didn't know what I know about football because I'm calling it
And by
football.
football, you mean soccer.
Soccer, yeah. I have a club in Wrexham, and if it's been ingrained in my head. If I call it soccer, there'll be.
Are we talking about soccer? Are we talking about football? We're not talking about hockey? I would have bet everything that we're talking about hockey. Okay. Is soccer like very popular in Canada? I've learned that the other like Canadian sport is lacrosse, right? Lacrosse and then hockey, of course, and I didn't know soccer was so popular.
Be a messy stabbing death, so I'm making sure I call it football. But yeah, Whitecaps, yeah.
Place you've never been in Canada that you'd like to go.
Oh, this is a cool question. See if Ryan Reynolds has like a cool suggestion for somewhere in Canada that's fun to go.
Ooh.
That he has never been to, right?
Ooh, I think Nova Scotia.
You've never been to Nova Scotia?
I've never been to Nova Scotia.
Man.
No.
Wow.
I've stopped there once briefly, but I didn't get to properly look around. So I really would love to see.
It is beautiful.
That is sort of frustratingly vague. It's like, yeah, I'd like to visit Texas. It's like, all right, is it like this one little like hill over here, or should it be like somewhere more specific than that? Or Nova Scotia? All right, a little vague but cool. I'm sure like there's so much in Nova Scotia though. I wish he could narrow it down a bit.
Nova Scotia.
Place you've been to Canada that you never wanted? No, I'm not going to ask you that. Place in Canada that you've been.
I like that. I like this guy. I like this interviewer. I don't know who he is, but funny.
Into that you'd like to go back to.
A place in Canada he's been to that he would like to go back to. So somewhere I'm sure he's been to a lot of places in Canada. What stuck out to him as like the best, basically? Oh
boy. I was up near the Great Bear Rainforest, which is one of the most amazing biodiversity land that you'll ever see in your life.
Great Bear Rainforest. I might have to look that one up. Great Bear Rainforest. It does come up. The Great Bear Rainforest is a temperate rainforest on the Pacific coast of British Columbia? Wait a minute. There's a rainforest in British Columbia? 6.4 million hectares. Not sure exactly what that means, but it sounds enormous. There's just a rainforest in British Columbia? Is that what I'm hearing? That is so random, for one thing. That's so random, kind of. Can rainforests just exist like anywhere on the planet? I feel like I think of like an African rainforest or something. I didn't know they were just in Canada. That's shocking and very cool.
I occasionally work with a group called Pacific Wild and a guy named Ian McAllister who runs Pacific Wild, and I just love everything they do up there. So my hope is to go up there and get a distant look at a spirit bear.
Spirit bear? Can you see bears in this rainforest? Is that part of the tour? Part of the excitement?
Nice.
At some point, yeah.
Word association. Wow. I'm going to mention some Canadian things and just tell me what comes to mind.
Okay.
Song.
Canada.
Gosh.
Oh, Canada.
I'm thinking of the song Man in Motion.
Man in Motion? Wait, who is this? See, I'm happy. I'm actually learning some like very random things about Canada today. Who is this individual? Is this a Canadian? Did they do something? This is giving me like Terry Fox vibes somehow. Like he's traveling across Canada for research or something, for some kind of amazing cause, and he's in a wheelchair and it's inspiring. Who is this? And does he have is this song the soundtrack to his life? I have a lot of questions about this. Man in Motion World Tour. Okay, got it. I can look that up. Man in Motion World Tour? Yes, okay. What is this? Rick Hansen? Yes, Google, yes. Teach me. Save me. The Man in Motion World Tour was a 26-month, 34-country, 4,000-kilometer wheelchair marathon started by Rick Hansen in 1985. Wow. That is going to be its own video for sure. That is going to be its own video somewhere down the line after this. Like, I got to learn more about this person. That sounds like an amazing Canadian. Man in Motion. Okay, good one.
TV show, Canadian TV show.
Oh,
You can't do that on television. I'm not. That's not. That's not.
Oh yeah,
that's,
right. Okay,
That's not a statement.
I
That's a
was
TV
just.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds, you silly goose. You can't say that on television? Is that what it's called?
You can't do that on television.
You can't do that on television. I'm looking some of this stuff up. I want to know. You can't do that on television. Canadian comedy series. What is this? I've never heard of this. Canadian sketch comedy aired in 1979. And it was actually shown in the US in 1981, so I probably missed it. You can't do that on television. Cool. All right. Canadian sketch comedy show. Okay.
I'm not. That's not. That's
Oh
not.
yeah,
that's,
right. Okay,
That's not a statement.
I
That's
was
a TV
just.
show.
I was just thinking you were going to. For some reason, I thought you were going to say
The
Little
National.
Hobo. The National. That's right.
Wait, the what?
I was
a TV
just.
show.
I was just thinking you were going to. For some reason, I thought you were going to say
The
Little
National.
The littlest hobo. All right, what is that? the All right, the littlest hobo, not mermaid. It wants me to say Little Mermaid, littlest hobo. Canadian TV series based upon a well-known movie of the same title. This went for 6 seasons. A homeless dog helps solve tough problems. How wholesome. Was this popular? The Littlest Hobo. Haven't heard of that one either.
Hobo. The National. That's right.
The National.
Exactly.
Anything with Lauren Green in it. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Food.
Food.
Ooh. There's a lot of like famous Canadian foods. So I'm curious what he says here.
Canadian food.
Well, I'm obviously the poutine is the obvious way to
That's
go, but
what I
like
thought, yes.
for
That right, maybe that's too obvious. Poutine might be too obvious. Even Ryan Reynolds knows that. So maybe he knows what an American wants to hear. What?
me, Canadian food. I grew up in Kitsilano, Vancouver. It's a Greek town.
He did grow up in Vancouver. Going back to the first question. So that satisfies me a little bit learning that.
Souvlaki is like the best souvlaki on earth. It's
Excellent.
just, yeah.
Souvlaki?
Kitsilano, Vancouver. It's a Greek town. Souvlaki is like the best souvlaki on earth. It's just,
Excellent.
yeah.
Souvlaki, Greek town. See, this is where Canada's multiculturalism kind of just puts me in the dark. Souvlaki, because goodness knows we don't have souvlaki in the United States. Souvlaki is a Greek fast food consisting of small pieces of meat, sometimes vegetables grilled on a skewer, usually eaten right off the skewer. It looks really good. That looks good. Okay, it's a good answer. I would struggle to think of where you could possibly get that in the United States. Maybe a big city, like a Greek part of New York or something.
Weird question, but Canadian provincial capital.
Which
Which
Canadian
one comes? Which
provincial?
comes to mind when I say
Oh.
that to you?
Oh boy.
Oh.
I mean, you know, I struggle to find a place more beautiful than Victoria.
Victoria.
I mean, that is a stunning capital city.
Victoria. Victoria is British Columbia? Please, Victoria. British Columbia, not the lingerie company. The provincial capital. City in British Columbia, Canada. Perfect. I know some things. Okay. And I think I've heard on other videos in the past people talking about amazing places in Canada. I've heard Victoria come up now that I think about it.
Struggle to find a place more beautiful than Victoria.
Okay.
I mean, that is a stunning capital city.
Cool,
In
cool,
every
cool,
way, shape,
cool.
and form. So
Shoot Deadpool 3 in Victoria. That would be
we
fantastic.
shot some of Deadpool 2 in Victoria.
Really?
Yes,
Oh.
we did. The Xavier's castle is set there, so that's where we shot.
Oh,
it.
that's actually cool.
What is the biggest misconception when you talk to American friends about Canada?
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy about this one. Yes, I'm so happy they included a question like this. What's the biggest misconception about Canada that Ryan Reynolds has to deal with from his American friends? Gosh, do I have any predictions here? that Canadians are eating maple syrup nonstop. Canadians live in igloos. Say a boot. Say A too much. So like any of those. Wear plaid and are lumberjacks.
The biggest misconception, I think that some people feel, it's one of the things that, look, I make no secret about how much I love Canada, but that doesn't mean that I feel like Canada's perfect. You know, I love Canada despite its incredible imperfections, and there are many. But I think some people have a notion that Canada is some kind of utopian society that's getting it all right, and I think that we also...
Oh, I was not expecting this one. But he is 100% right. This is something, and it's a very, you can call it a stereotype, I guess, although I think there's a lot of truth to it. Americans, although will poke fun at some Canadian stereotypes, like the ones I was expecting him to say, another one is that a lot of Americans kind of talk about Canada with a sense of reverence, a sense of Canada, they're the ones up there doing it right. They got the healthcare right and the education correct and the politics compared to us, a circus over here, and Canada is this shining example of what life could be like. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, but I appreciate Ryan Reynolds kind of bringing a little humanity back to that notion, because obviously nowhere is perfect, you know.
So have our same, you know, many of the same socio-political issues that happen south of the border and elsewhere in the world, and many of the same struggles, many of the same blind spots and blights on our history as well. And so, you know, I'm always here to be the ice-cold bucket of water for those friends.
Exactly. I guess it's kind of important to just... I take away from that is Canada has problems, the United States has problems. I think Canada has less problems, which is, you know, a big win. You could look at it that way.
Remind them that, you know, we're just like you.
Perfect score. Thank you.
Perfect score.
I really appreciate it.
Wow. All right. There you have it. That was very fun. Always enjoyable to see Ryan Reynolds like normal, just in an interview, not like acting, not a superhero or something. This was by CBC News, The National. And I got to give this a like, because I liked that quite a bit, and surprisingly or not surprisingly, Ryan Reynolds actually taught me some cool random facts about places and stuff in Canada as well, and even got a little deep there at the end. A little philosophical, so that's always nice. Yeah, I am pleasantly surprised at how enjoyable and educational this video was. So, I enjoyed it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.